Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Stasis Jiu-Jitsu. Very excited about today's video. I've been really looking forward to it. To be honest, it's been a real pain, just a lot of things I had to deal with the computer, just finding the right things in terms of software to use to record it and to draw on the screen. It's a bit of a pain, but other than that, I've recorded this a few times, and the first time I recorded this, it was 40 minutes long. And I'm thinking, what the hell just happened? I was talking and talking, didn't even realize I was getting super tired as well. I'm thinking, what's happened? Why am I so tired? It's such a quick video. Ended up being 40 minutes long. So I did my best to really shorten it up, boil it down. I picked 3 segments out of the video that I'm going to be breaking down. And for those of you that don't know what's going on, pretty much I made a post on Instagram. So if you guys aren't following us on Instagram, go ahead and follow us there just to keep up with everything. I made a post saying pretty much an announcement. I'm going to be asking our subscribers to send in videos of them competing or training in their class. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what belt rank you are. Send in your videos. I want to put it on the channel. I want to comment on it. Pick out some things to work on. Point out some things you're doing really, really well. You know, that way it's a really good educational video for the person that sent in the video, and at the same time for people that want to watch as well. So today we had a video sent in. Well, not today, but we had a video sent in by Thomas, and I will show you guys. He is the one in the white gi. Very, very good. He's very, very technical. He trains at the academy I teach at, and he's a purple belt now, blue belt in this video. This is from 2018 Toronto Open. So we're going to get right into it. And just before I actually do, sorry, one more thing. I want to say a big thank you for the support on the last video that we put out, the Khabib video. It was answering one of the comments from our subscribers, and did really, really well. Good positive comments. Really happy about it. Thank you very much. You know, every time you guys watch our videos, it really just it makes our day. You know, Bianca and I, both of us, really. So thank you. Anyways, okay, let's actually get into it. Let's hit play. I'm gonna hit play, show the clip I want to critique, and I'm gonna rewind it and break it down. Let's go. So far, so good. Everything's looking good. We're going to pause it in a second, and then we're going to rewind. And just a moment. Okay, and right about now. Yeah, at this point we lost the position. Yeah, right about now. Okay, here we go. Let's start things off. First thing to note, the pass that he was going for is called the leg drag pass. It's a very popular pass. It's sort of like it fast forwards you at a certain position, like side control. It's a very quick way just to chuck the leg out in front of you, or to the side of you. The only thing is, it's easy to grasp in the beginning. It's very hard to perfect. There's so many things that require for it to be really, really good and perfect. And so first thing I'm going to point out that he's doing really, really well is what I was taught is called the rule of opposites. Now, my professor, when he told me about the rule of opposites, he applied it to like a universal rule in jiu-jitsu. You know, in any position, any circumstance, whatever the guy's doing, you want to do the opposite. It's a very, very beautiful rule, very elegant. Now, after thinking about it for a while, I sort of realized that, you know what, it's actually way more accurate when it comes to balance. It really describes perfect balance very, very well. So I'm gonna show you a glimpse of it, because it is somewhat of an advanced topic to talk about, but nevertheless it's important to know. So if we watch it, he drags the leg to the side, and the first thing you're gonna notice is as he's pinning him, does a very good job. You'll see sort of like a shakiness going on. He's flexing, he's resisting into him, slowly putting and mounting that pressure. And that is essentially what the rule of opposites is. So I'm going to take out my pen. Actually, I don't want this guy's face in the... So I'm going to stop right here. The rule of opposites essentially is this. So imagine someone's putting a force going into this direction. So he's putting a force going that way. If I resist in the opposite direction, right? If I resist in the opposite direction, that's what we call rule of opposites. So he's directing his pressure this way. He's pushing me, or he's using his hands to push, his feet to push, his head to push. Doesn't matter. I resist in the opposite direction. Now here's the thing. If you apply just enough resistance to sort of neutralize what he's doing, what you'll create is a tension. Now, what I always say in class is perfect rule of opposites. Perfect balance creates vibration. Perfect balance creates vibration. If imagine I put resistance this way one more time, put resistance this way one more time. If I, again, apply the right amount, just enough to neutralize what he's doing, you're going to create vibration. And in turn, what he's going to experience just an immense amount of weight and pressure that he can't understand how you're creating. And that's the magic. And it's something that you really can't see. And, Thomas did it very well in this one segment. Watch, he applies that rule of opposites. It looks very beautiful once you can see it, because there's so much happening there. Now, here's where things can be worked on, why he lost that position. The leg drag pass, people love to do, but they miss a very common part of it. So I'm going to rewind here. I'm going to stop right there. One thing you want to understand with the leg drag pass, there's 3 points of the leg you want to control. You have the ankle, which is behind Thomas's waist and torso, the knee, and then the hip. You need to control these 3. Now, one thing you want to understand is you're not going to control all 3 at one time. Initially, he used his arm to drag the leg to the side. That sort of gets it out of the way. Once he gets it out of the way, what are you supposed to do? You want to transition your control to the knee, to the hip. And then finally, you're going to see Thomas's arm reach and grab onto the guy's collar. So watch, as I not fast forward, but I'm going to play it again. Watch the right arm, transfer, right there. Perfect. So he transferred the arm. Now he's making grip on the collar. You'll see as he starts to rotate around. He's making a grip on that collar. Now, he ditched the ankle control. Both ankles, doesn't matter anymore. It's pretty much useless. The only thing you want to deal with now is pushing the knee through. The knee has to go through to the opposite direction. Once he gets that knee through, that is where you're in the golden zone. This is perfect. All that you have to grab is the hip. Now, if you forget the hip, understand that the hip is the main primary weapon of the guard. And why do I say that? Now, the legs and the arms are weapons. They're the main things that, you grab and pull and choke and do all sorts of cool stuff. But the hips allow you to angle, go underneath him, back away from him. It dictates where you point. It dictates where your weapons point. If you leave it alone, if you just ignore it, what's going to happen is the guy is going to be able to scoot and maneuver his way out. So ideally, what Thomas would have done in this position was right hand on the collar. Once he pushes the knee through, boom, he pushes the knee through. Right here, if he had transferred his left arm down to the hip, so either belt or the rim of the pant, you grab either one. Pant is slightly better because the belt comes off. If he were just to control that, then if he drove down pressure like he did with his torso, then you're in a really, really good spot. You just cook the guy out, and that's pretty much it. But because that didn't happen, you'll see the guy was able to scoot. You'll see the scooting right there. That's exactly what I'm talking about. He's scooting, and he's feeling it. Right now, he's feeling the pressure of it, but he's feeling confident. Inch by inch, he's recovering, and he's starting to get his guard back, which is exactly what he did in there. He did a really good job doing that. Now, really quickly, I don't want to go too in detail with this one part. I want to move on to the next segment, but very quickly, just sort of when it comes to passing, anytime you're doing loose passing, which I define as like Toreando passing, X passing, and all sorts of farther distance moves. So you're farther away from him, you're just maybe grabbing his pant and moving around. So there's loose passing, and then there's tight passing or / pressure passing. Pressure passing is you're just tighter to the guy, you're putting a lot more of your body weight on him, and then you're slowly inching your way up. Loose, by the definition, it's not chaotic, but there's sort of a, how do I say it? There's sort of a nice arithmetic chaos with it, if you will, I guess. Now, one thing you want to know is when you're doing any kind of loose passing, you want to avoid putting your knees down. Once you put your knees down, you lose that forward pressure. Not only do you lose that forward pressure, you lose the option to juke from one side to the other side, which is very important. You really need to have that option, especially if you're doing it loose. And what happens when you put your knees down, it allows the guy on the bottom to feel a lot more confident in his recovery. He doesn't feel too stressed about it, right? He doesn't really feel too bad. So it's very important, always stay off your knees. That was just sort of a quick thing. Anyway, so let's fast forward here to a minute and 25, where we start going into spider guard. Now, spider guard, I know personally, it's his main guard he plays on the bottom. The spider guard has a unique property that it can pin the guy, it can stall him out, which is, you know, good for you in some ways. You get to breathe and relax, which is the benefit. You get to catch your breath if you're tired. The only thing with spider guard you have to understand, so one thing he did well here before I get into that, he did a very good job being sticky with him. So his grips are very good, it's very tight. He's applying very good counter pressure. And for those that don't know what I mean by that is, spider guard comprises of you grabbing onto his cuff, at the same time your foot flexing pressure into his bicep. So he's pulling the cuff down with his hand, pushing up with his foot, which creates that counter pressure, which then completely pins that arm. Now he does the same thing on this side by doing the exact same philosophy. He's pulling with that cuff, pressing with his leg. Although the only difference with this one, it's a leg lasso, so he's weaving like a basket in and around his arm, which is preferred by most spider guard players. It's just so powerful and dominant. Now remember, you're fighting your own grip here, right? So the harder you pull, the more you're going to tax your grip. So you got to be very wise with how you do it. So he did a very good job being sticky. The guy, you know, the guy on top was having a very hard time breaking and stripping his grips. So if you guys watch this a little bit more, you see he's doing a good job. He's being nice and sticky. If there's something, you know, something you want to point out with spider guard, you need to elevate his hips. Or rather, let's be a little bit more broad. You have to elevate his whole base, move his base. You have to get him from being, see how he's flat-footed. Being flat-footed, there's stability and there's power and structure. You need to get him off. You don't have to necessarily think off his feet per se, but you just want to get him so that he's concerned about his balance. Right now, with him, the way he is, he's concerned about pretty much one thing, and it's the spider guard. Now that gives him plenty of time to sort of evaluate what he wants to do, where he wants to go. So immediately address the balance. Use the spider guard tool to offset his balance. Lift him up. Maybe push him to the left. Maybe push him to the right. Doesn't really matter. You have to create a discomfort. Something that gets his attention off of the spider guard and in him trying to defend it. If you chain it to something, so if you have an off-balancing mechanic with an attack prepared, you're going to get a good result. And if you combine those two elegantly, and if you've practiced it and you put a lot of reps into it, to the guy on top, he's going to feel like, wow, I cannot do anything with this spider guard. I'll just quickly fast forward to where he did a very nice sweep. We call the torpedo sweep. Just missed it. Just missed it again. Sorry. Here we go. So he's going to get right into it now, just to show you what it's like. So you see, he elevates him and he pushes him, dumps him on his back. Perfect. So always elevate him, get him off his base, keep him moving. You don't have to spaz. I'm not saying you have to spaz, but definitely keep active. Constantly active. And then every now and then you can burst into what you want to do. Technically, of course. Okay, final thing, and that's taking advantage of a very common reaction. So the first thing I want you guys to understand is this is a tournament environment. Tournament environment is different than a training environment. And for the reason is, I mean, there's a whole bunch of things. Pressure, status, you don't want to get beat in front of your team. There's a ref watching, so there's points. There's pressure because of the time as well. So there's a whole bunch of factors. It's different. It's totally different. Now, having said that, in this environment, you run by a time. Blue belts have a 6-minute time. Right, so blue belts, their time is 6 minutes. And the thing with 6 minutes, it's not really enough time to do much, to be honest with you. I mean, if you're a lot better than him, you can do all sorts. But when if it's sort of like equal, maybe you're slightly better or slightly worse, you'll find yourself sometimes 3-4 minutes just stuck in a certain position. You guys are both fighting it out in that way. And then all of a sudden you look at the clock and, oh my God, I got barely any time left. So there's pressure on you. Now, having said that, how does that relate to this exact situation that Tom's is in? The guy on the bottom, he's on a clock right now. He's on a clock. He needs to make something happen. If he can't move, he has one of two options. One, as you can see, he's trying to go for a choke, a baseball choke from the bottom, which is, you do not want to underestimate it. It's very serious. It can actually tap you big time. Or the second option is he turns to his knees. He runs away to his knees. And he has no choice. Like, he has to do it. He has to address it. Otherwise, what? He just lays there and he loses. So he has to make a decision. If you can't choke him, his only last resort is a turtle. And that was a plus for Thomas because he's been prepping that. And for those that aren't practicing that, practice in class, being in a side control position, tell your partner to turtle, turn to their knees, and you'll see, and practice taking the back. It's such a common reaction. And you don't have to just practice for tournaments, just in class as well. Now watch, and he turtles. He has to. He has no other choice. So now, he did a very good job. You know, Thomas saw that coming. We told him, we were saying to all the competition, the guys who were competing, they will turtle if he gets aside. Hold them inside, be prepared for them to run away. And that's what they're going to do. So he's going to turtle, chases the back. Very good. And here's where we get into the correction now. If you notice, one thing you want to understand is where your posture, or sorry, not posture, but the position of your body, which I guess is posture. Back control comprises of three things. You have your harness, you have your hooks. So harness is your arms hugging around the torso. Your hooks being pushed into his groin, not directly into it, but sort of at his adductors and his thighs, inner thighs. And then you have your chest to back. So the center of Thomas's chest has to be the center of his partner's back. If you see right now, if it's off alignment, so right now you can see how his chest is slightly off of his back, which means what? What's going to happen? A few things. Either the guy who has his back taken could just sit up. So I'm going to bring the pen out again. I shouldn't have taken it out. Sorry, 2 seconds. If you can see, if this guy right now, so Thomas is sliding off. If this guy decided to posture up with like big force and, you know, finesse, he can escape it. So that's one way. What Thomas would have to do in this case is use his elbow, so his elbow that's hidden here, he has to base it onto the ground, keeping this grip on his partner, and at the same time using this leg as a lever. So press it against his back and use it to elevate your hips up. Elevate the hips up and line them, again, chest to back, chest to back. Now, let's play it out and see what happens.
Get that hook, get that hook, get that hook. Come on, Thomas.
You'll see in a second, if he doesn't adjust, he tries to adjust, but then he backs up. You see that? That's pretty much a done deal. Now, if we back it up again, understand this. The first thing you want to know when you're in that sort of spot is how am I going to get myself to line up chest to back? That's, you have to think about it. Do not obsess about the harness. If you obsess too hard about the harness, you're going to lose the back control, or especially if you're just obsessing about the hooks, which a lot of people tend to do. You want to just wait patiently. Number one is line up your chest to back and your hips. That's another one, hips. And I'm going to fast forward to explain. So watch. The result of him not lining it up caused his partner, boom, you see that? You see how his face is on the mat? Now that allows his partner to back up and shake him off. Now, Thomas, now I'm going to get into what he did really well. He was able to capitalize on that situation, realize his mistake, and he quickly retreated behind. Perfect. Now, check this out. This is something that I rarely hear discussed, and it's so important. So I said harness, chest to back, and the hooks. Hooks aren't in right now, but let's imagine they're in. Three things, right? 1, 2, 3. There's one more, and I would say it's almost more important than the three, but just slightly more. My rule is chase the hips slightly more than you chase the back. Chase the hips slightly more than you chase the back. Slightly more. Why? As a result of him being where he is right now, where he's lined up hip to hip, as a result of that, his harness is right there. No matter, it's going to be there. And because of that, his chest is lined up with his back. And now he can, because his hooks aren't in, he can fight to get them in. He can start piercing them inside and do what he wants to do. Lining up the hips will in turn line up the chest to back, will in result line up the harness. Perfect. And then you can follow suit with the hooks. Chase the hips slightly more than you chase the back. I'm going to say that every single time because it's unbelievable how common this is. Let's continue the video. So he sits back, lining up his hips, and you see everything starts to kind of fall through a little bit better. And then he has to do just micro adjustments. Now the guy on the bottom did a very good job recovering.
You're up by 7, Thomas.
He does what we call like a Granby roll or an inversion. You'll see in a second. Beautiful, and he recovers. Very good. So that was pretty much it for the video. I only wanted to boil it down because it was just way too long for that 40 minutes. I don't know how long it is now. Hopefully it's not too bad. Hopefully you guys took something from it. So main things, again, structure. Always make sure you have good structure, good balance. And perfect balance creates vibration. Rule of opposites. You want to really practice that. Over time, it'll be more just intuitive, and you'll just start doing it, and you're going to feel like an animal on top. Absolute animal. And then following with the spider guard, offset your partner. You want to get their balance to be moving. Get them thinking about their balance, then you can attack with all sorts of things you want to do, and that's sort of completely up to you. And then finally, chase the hips slightly more than you chase the back. If you chase the hip, if you have the hip, you'll have the seatbelt, you'll have the chest to back, you'll get your hooks inevitably. Hooks can come last, not a big deal. And that's going to be pretty much it. So I hope, Thomas, I hope you enjoyed the video, I hope you took a lot from it. And at the same time, for those that are watching, I hope you can relate to it. And even if you take just a small fraction of information, that makes me very happy. And again, don't be afraid to send in your videos, guys. Send them in. I'll put a link in the description, or rather, I'll just write in the description the email. It's our stasisjiujitsu@gmail.com. Send in your videos. Again, doesn't matter whether you're white belt, blue belt, purple. It's okay. It doesn't matter to me at all. This is for you guys. I'm doing this for you, because there's a lot of attention on the higher ranks, and for good reason, obviously. But I also want to give attention to the lower ranks as well, and work on that foundation. The foundation is why those black belts at the highest level get that good. They have good, solid foundation. So I want to make sure I point it out for you guys. Okay, thank you very much for watching. Leave a like. Likes help us a lot with the algorithm. Puts us on the home page more often on YouTube. Subscribe to our channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video.